Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome to Leisure Gaming. I am Leisure. How is everyone enjoying the Tearlaments format so far? Today's profile combines two deck types that most people hate. Runick Tearlaments. I don't see many people talking about this combo or seeing it being played on the ladder, but the synergy between the two decks is just really amazing. So let's just jump right into it. To start off the deck profile, we have two Tearlaments Merling. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard, and if this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can do a fusion summon. Next are two Tearlaments Havness. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand and send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can then fusion summon. We have two Tearlaments Sharon. During your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, send one monster from your hand to the graveyard, then send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can then fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck. We have 3 Tearlaments Rhino Heart. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send one Tearlaments monster from your deck to the graveyard, except Rhino Heart. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can special summon this card, and if you do, send one Tearlaments card from your hand to the graveyard. We have 2 Kaleido the Sacred Protector. You can discard one Earth Fairy monster, special summon this card from your hand. Then you can add one Exchange the Spirit, or one card that mentions it from your deck to your hand. You can banish this card from the field or graveyard to then target up to 3 cards in any graveyard and shuffle them back into the deck. One Madura the Sword Oracle. You can discard one other Earth Fairy monster, special summon this card from your hand. Then you can place one Gravekeeper's Trap from your deck face up in your spell or trap zone. You can banish this card from your field or graveyard, then target up to 3 cards in either graveyard and shuffle them back into the deck. 2 Kelbeck the Ancient Vanguard. If a card or cards is sent from the hand or deck to your opponent's graveyard, you can target one special summon monster your opponent controls and special summon this card from your hand, then return that monster to the hand. If this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you can activate the effect, and each player will send the top 5 cards of their deck to the graveyard. Next are 2 Yugioh the Ancient Sentinel. If a card or cards is sent from the hand or deck to your opponent's graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand, then you can special summon one level 4 Earth Fairy monster from your graveyard, except Yugioh. If this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, each player can then send the top 5 cards of their deck to the graveyard. Going into the spells, we have 1 Terraforming so that we can search out our field spells. Of course, we have the 2 Runick Fountains. You can activate Runick quick play spells from your hand during your opponent's turn. Once per turn, if you activate a Runick quick play spell card, you can then target up to 3 Runick quick play spell cards in your graveyard and place them on the bottom of your deck in any order, then draw the same number of cards. We have our 1 Primeval Planet. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Tearlaments monster or Visa Starfrost from your deck to your hand. Fusion monsters and Tearlaments monsters gain 500 attack. If a Tearlaments monster you control or in your graveyard is shuffled into the deck or extra deck, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. We have 1 Runick Allure. Each time a quick play spell card is activated, you can banish the top card of your opponent's deck, and even if your opponent activates a quick play spell card, they still have to banish. We have 1 Tearlaments Scream, and you can definitely run this at 2. I would just suggest dropping the Runick Allure at that point. If a monster or monsters is normal or special summoned and you control a Tearlaments monster, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Also, for the rest of the turn, all monsters your opponent control loses 500. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add 1 Tearlaments Trap from your deck to your hand. We have 1 Super Polymerization. Once again, if you want to run 2, you can just drop the Runick Allure. Discard 1 card and fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either field as fusion material. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Next are 2 Runick Tip. Add 1 Runick card from your deck to your hand and then banish the top card off your opponent's deck. 3 Runick Flashing Fires, where you could target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and then banish the top 2 cards off their deck. 2 Runick Destructions. Target 1 spell or trap your opponent controls, destroy it, then banish the top 4 cards off your opponent's deck. 2 Runick Freeze and Curses, where you target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, then banish the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. 2 Runick Slumber. Target 1 face-up monster on the field. The next time that monster will be destroyed by battle or card effect, it is not destroyed. Also, it cannot attack this turn. Then banish the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. We have 1 Runick Smiting Storm. Banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck up to the number of cards they control. 1 Runick Droplet. Your opponent will draw 1 card, but then they banish the top 4 cards off their deck. And 1 Runick Dispelling. If your opponent adds a card or cards from their deck to their hand, except during the draw phase, discard 1 random card from their hand, then banish the top 2 cards of their deck. Going on to the traps, we only have 3. We have the first being the Trickstar Reincarnation, where you banish your opponent's entire hand, and if you do, they draw the same number of cards. If you're able to open with this and go first, they're already going to be banishing 6 cards from their hand. You just have to activate it during their draw phase, so make sure your toggle is on. 1 Tearlaments Crime. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated while you control a Tearlaments monster, negate the activation. If you do, shuffle that card into the deck. Then send 1 monster from your hand to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can target 1 of your banished banish Tearlaments monsters and add it to your hand. And 1 Tearlament Sully It. If you control a Tearlaments monster or a Visa Star Frost, you can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, then send 1 monster you control to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add 1 Tearlaments monster from your deck to your hand. Going on to the extra deck, we have 2 Hugging the Runick Wings. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you discard a card and add 1 Runick field spell from your deck to your hand. If another card or cards you control will be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card you control instead. Next are 3 Gary the Runick Fangs. Cannot be destroyed by card effect. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can target 1 non-quick play Runick spell in your graveyard and add it to your hand. This is more than likely going to be your field spell. When this card is destroyed by battle, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. We have 1 Tearlament Kitkalos. If this card is special summoned, you can take 1 Tearlaments card from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. You can target 1 monster you control, special summon 1 Tearlament monster from your hand or graveyard, and if you do, send the targeted monster to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can then send the top 5 cards of your deck to the graveyard. 1 Predator Plant Dragus the Paleo. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, place 1 Predator counter on it. If it is level 2 or higher, it becomes level 1, and the effects are then negated. 1 Tearlament Rukalos. Other aqua monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. You can only use each of the following effects of Tearlament Rukalos once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect that includes an effect that special summons a monster, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Then send 1 Tearlament card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. If this fusion summon card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can then special summon this card back. 1 Tearlament Kaleido Heart. If this card is special summoned or if an aqua monster is sent to your graveyard by a card effect while this card is on the field, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can special summon this card, and if you do, send 1 Tearlament card from your deck to the graveyard. 1 Herald of the Pure Light. You can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, then shuffle 1 card from your hand to the deck. 1 Abyss Dweller. While this card has a material attached that was originally water, all water monsters you control gain 500 attack. You can detach 1 material from this card, and then your opponent cannot activate any card effects in their graveyard. Next is 1 Baguska. This attack position card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Your opponent cannot target this attack position card with card effects. While this card is in face-up defense position, change all face-up monsters on the field to defense position. Also negate the activated effects of those monsters that were in defense position when that effect was activated. So this is a great way to stall if you need to. 1 Time Thief Redoer. Once per turn during the standby phase, you can attach the top card of your opponent's deck to this card as material. You can detach up to 3 different types of materials from this card, then apply the following effects. If it's a monster, banish this card until the end phase. If it's a spell, draw 1 card, and if it's a trap, place 1 face-up card your opponent controls on the top of their deck. 1 Dugaris the Timeless. You can detach 2 materials from this card, then activate 1 of the following effects. Skip your next draw phase, also draw 2 cards and discard 1. Skip your next main phase 1, also special summon 1 monster from your graveyard in defense position. Skip the battle phase of your next turn, also double the attack of 1 monster you control until the end of this turn. And of course, since we have Xyz to attack with, we definitely have to have Zeus, so that way you can detach 2 materials from this card and send all other cards from the field to the graveyard. Also, once per turn, if another card or cards you control is destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you can attach 1 card from your hand, deck, or extra deck to this card as material. So that's it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead, leave a like and subscribe. I think the synergy between these 2 archetypes is amazing, since you are not only milling your own deck, but your opponent's deck, and you're able to recycle a lot of your Runick cards more quickly because you're milling your deck for that extra hand advantage. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Later.